Greetings, class. The purpose for this video is for me to provide you a quick review of a couple of job descriptions that I'd like to kind of critique. These, actually, I'm going to do two separate videos. This one is a cosmetologist position, and it is job description example 1 on our Moodle page within the project section. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a few minutes and walk through and share with you, what this particular project does well and some things that the student lost some points on. As you've gone through the reading, and if you look at some of the examples and information provided about the project, what you'll should know is that the job summary is a high-level 2 to 3 sentence summary of what the position is. Typically, you're going to want to write the job summary last because it summarizes everything that's in the job description, so you should probably do that after you know what everything that's going to end up being in there. You'll notice that this student has used the basic template that I provided. So there is a section for job description and a section for job specification. And it's important to remember that job description, when we talk about it in the broad sense and the kind of the layman's terms, job description is what we mean by a document that captures the duties, tasks, competencies, etc. for a job. However, when we talk more technically, job description is the information about the job itself, so the duties and tasks. So what you'll see here is that underneath job description are things that are specifically or should be specifically about the job. What does the person do? What are the tasks or responsibilities? You'll notice under job specification, these are the competencies or the knowledge, skills, and abilities and other characteristics that are required of someone to be successful at the job. So in other words, this section, job specification, is about the person or the type of person, kind of person, the characteristics of a person that are most likely going to be successful for the job. So in a very real sense, these are the kinds of things that we would look for in a person that we might hire for the job. So when you are interviewed for a job, when you are interviewing someone else or trying to figure out, looking at resumes, who's the right person for the job, this list right here would be the kinds of things that you would look at to give you a sense for what are you looking for in the right person. How do you know the right person when you find them? It's another question altogether to what tools or techniques do you use to find that person? But at least from here we know the first step, which is what are the kinds of capabilities that the person is expected to have. So under duties and tasks, importantly, every task, these are tasks here. This person does not really have any duties, I don't think, listed. Duties are simply groupings of related tasks. So you can think about duties as buckets that summarize groups of related tasks. So I'm going to type in here just kind of a key, and that is a key concept, and that is each of the tasks that are listed on your job description that come from your job analysis should list and identify what is done, how it is done, and why it is done. So the what is really the action word. So looking at this particular list of tasks, I would say cut, analyze, bleach, update, recommend. These are action words that describe what is done. The how it is done is going to identify, what are the tools, techniques, information, anything like that that is used in order to accomplish it. So taking a look at this particular job description, there isn't a lot on the how. There's a little bit, it's implied here, keep workstations clean and sanitize all tools, but with what? How do you do it? Do I use a broom? Do I use a mop? How do I sanitize it? Do I dip it in bleach? What do I do? There's no how. And a good complete task description is going to answer that question. So overall, this student did not use enough action verbs to answer the what is done. Okay, to make sure that's not really a action, is it? Rather, this could have been done better by saying drape a waterproof cloth over client's clothes and skin to protect during washing and cutting. So there, drape is an action verb. Waterproof cloth, I don't know what those are called. I don't go to the salon. So what I'm doing, drape what and how over drape this cloth over their clothes. Why? To protect during washing and cutting. Okay, that might not be what the student wanted it to mean, but I'm going to stay with it. Then what ideally we should be doing here is sanitize all tools, including brushes, combs, scissors, etc., with UV light for 5 minutes before reusing on the next client. That would be a much better statement to describe what the action is, how it's done, and why it's done. In this case, I didn't put a why because the why is pretty obvious. You know, you don't need to say, when you say you're going to sanitize it before reusing on the next client, you don't need to say so that germs don't get transferred to them. I mean, that's something that an average person could figure out based upon the information provided. So I would leave that off on that particular one. So as you look through, take a few minutes to try to identify, you know, where is a task written with a good action verb? Where is it not a good action verb? Down here below, let's take a quick look at the competencies. These are also known as knowledge, skills, and abilities. Interchangeable. I prefer competencies as most organizations use that language now. Okay, knowledge mixing here, color applicators, ability to blend color throughout, sure. Okay, stay focused. Okay, not too bad. Have a positive attitude always. That's not a very good competency. I don't know what that means. That's not something that would generally make the cut here. If you could describe that in a more tangible way, you know, smiles and greets, you know, smiles and demonstrates a positive attitude towards clients might be somewhat better. It's still a little shaky, but it's a little bit better than having a positive attitude always. That's not really a skill, ability, or other characteristic. Another thing to think about is our minimum qualifications include having a cosmetology certificate and completed an apprenticeship and complete the state board. So what that suggests to me is if they have completed this, they most likely we would argue they have that, this, perhaps, well, maybe not that one, this, okay? The point is that one of the reasons we have a minimum qualification is, in this case, an education and certification, is that it eliminates a lot of the competencies that we need to list because that's what that certification should be attesting to. So if you, for example, were going to hire a medical doctor, you wouldn't list that they know how to stitch someone's, you know, injury, that they know how to prescribe pills, that those are the things that medical school and their board passing their boards would certify. So you can leave off the kinds of competencies that would be presumed to be held by a person with those minimum qualifications. So I'm going to wrap this one up and take a look at the next one.